can get to the borrowers, but we are the Swiggy and Zomatos of the world. And financing needs to be customized, and the micro enterprises are even more delicate because I was explaining earlier that you ask a micro enterprise entrepreneur, tell him what is your capital, he will tell you zero. என்ன சார் ஒன்றும் போடல, நான் 10 வருஷம் வேலை பார்த்தேன், இடம் இருக்கு, நான் பிஸ்னஸ் பண்ணேன், தொழில் வந்தேன். So can you explain to him there is a balance sheet which he needs to draw and the fungibility between his personal account and business account? And how do you distinguish between what is the borrowing for business or to pay for medical expenses or for his college school going children fees? It's highly fungible. Now, as a lender, I am to establish the end use, monitor the end use, and on top of it, we are talking about registered micro entrepreneurs. There are a lot of benefits in registered micro entrepreneurs, but how many are registered? 7:50. So there is a whole host of entrepreneurs who are still yet to get access to lending. In fact, as a lender, I would always say, more than quality of lending, more than quantity of lending, timely lending is more important. Can I be cheapest? Can I get you as much as you want, but please give me when I want, not when I am dead. In fact, the biggest borrowing is funeral expenses. The maximum borrowing is actually happens during funeral. So next ancillary activity which I would say every lender should do is insurance. Both is asset insurance and life insurance should go hand in hand with your credit, because only then the quality of credit is assured, I would say. If he does not, and government definitely has done a wonderful job in terms of medical insurance and medical support. So if you are able to provide a quality life cover, adequate life cover, quality asset cover, so that your COVIDs, your floods, your rains, your any natural calamity, fire does not bring you down to knee. With all of us, big corporates, insurance is our 100% sure in a checklist. Your banker will ask for it. We have insurance. Does micro enterprises have their insurance? Impossible. Never. They are at the mercy of nature and adishta. So, as lenders, we say credit and insurance go hand in hand. They are not separate. Quality of insurance is quality of credit. Quality of credit is quality of insurance. If you are able to marry these in a homogeneous manner, I think we have a very vibrant entrepreneur, and more an entrepreneur, less and less unemployed in the country. Less and less political peace and I would say safety of the society as such. We have more stable working youth, earning youth. We have a very peaceful country, a very prosperous country. So here in this forum, I think we are very happy to have started our journey in Chennai in Tamil Nadu. But today we are a pan-India company, but we definitely remember our roots. This is, I was saying earlier, what we are today because we trust in that super honesty and integrity of the entrepreneur. I bow to all the small entrepreneurs whose integrity, whose commitment to deliver is made what we are today. It is not our efficiency, it is his intention to pay. If he did not want to pay, I would not have been what we are today in Shira. It is, and today every entrepreneur by default is an honest entrepreneur. It is society which may make him default, but otherwise every single entrepreneur is an honest entrepreneur. We trust the entrepreneurs more than anyone else. More than consumption lending, business activity, wealth creation lending is our passion, and we love what we are doing it, and I think with the support of all of this, we would be much larger in the years to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for passionately presenting many of the aspects that you and the Shriram Capital or the Shriram Group have experienced. And I think to celebrate the entrepreneurship and the ground, I think very well said. Thank you for your thoughts, and I'm sure there's more to discuss. Certainly not the last man standing. Mr. Uni Krishnan will present his opening thoughts, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon everyone. Thank you, Shankar. First of all, my compliments to CIA and TVS for initiating this new Center of Excellence on Employment and Livelihood. It's very difficult to be the last speaker in a panel like this because everything is already spoken, so you have very little to add. The speakers before me actually spoke about why we have to have the Center of Excellence and what we need to achieve. So I thought maybe I will focus on the how part of it, how we can probably approach this particular issue. At a very fundamental level, when you talk about livelihood, and that too from a micro enterprise point of view, it is essentially you have a product or a service to offer which is going to fulfill somebody else's need, and in return you get the money for that, here and now. I think that's at a very fundamental level what is livelihood from a micro entrepreneur's point of view. Now the challenge is, how do you do this at scale? How do you really do that at scale? Because by definition micro enterprise is very hyper local. A micro entrepreneur in Chennai is not Chennai, it's probably in one particular locality of Chennai or one particular locality of Madurai. So it's hyper local. How do you really scale it up at an all India level? So that's what I was wondering. I was searching, has anybody done this? Has anybody done this kind of a thing in the past and done it successfully? And I could find one. I'm sure there are many, though it's done for a business. So it's done on a commercial purpose. It's not done as a not for profit, but it's done for business. I'm talking about the company called Urban Company. I'm sure many of us have their app in our mobile, and we access many services through them. Why I'm referring to this company and their practices is, I think the Center of Excellence can pick up lots of learning from what Urban Company is doing for really integrating large number of millions of micro entrepreneurs all over the country. Okay? The first is, I think they have really cataloged and categorized the needs of people. So, okay, carpentry, electrician, plumbing, to grooming, to even when you even have a micro category that you want to put some 2 nails only to hang some photographs. That is also there as one need. So there is a very good cataloging and categorizing of the needs. I think that's fundamental. Second is, I think they have a very good method in terms of empaneling who can be the service provider. I think it's a very important one. Not that anybody and everybody can become a member of someone who can provide a service. So they have a method in terms of empaneling who can become a service provider. Third is, I think we need to provide a platform where the buyer and seller can come together. Now, why I'm saying all this, I'm not expecting CIA or the Center of Excellence to be a competitor to Urban Company. That's not my intention. So I'll explain towards the end why I'm taking this as a reference. So that's the third one, bringing a platform for that. The fourth is really, you need the right processes. Okay, so if you are a plumber, what is the process that you should follow? What are the SOP that you should follow when you go there? There are deep cleaning services that you can get from them. Okay, when you do a deep cleaning, what kind of chemicals can be used? What's the first step, second step? These are very well documented, and there is a fifth one, which is the skilling of the people who are these micro entrepreneurs, which is done. So that the service which is delivered is really, really up to the class and the quality that you really take a premium for that. And the next is really in terms of the tools. Okay, you provide, the sixth is really the tools. You provide the right kind of tools so that the micro entrepreneur can go and fulfill that particular service in the right way. And the last one, which is very important, is also you need to know how good are you performing that service. So there is a feedback mechanism which is available from your consumer. So the consumer is giving you a rating system by which you know how well you are doing it. Now each of these steps are very important if you really want to scale up micro entrepreneurship at a national level and really enable that to really give the livelihood for large number of people. This is absolutely essential. So why I'm saying CIA or the Center of Excellence can do is, CI Center of Excellence can become the aggregator of people who can, aggregator of stakeholders who can actually do each element of the entire chain. For example, I think there's good connectivity with the startups that we are talking about. There are startups who can really create platforms at a local level, at a very local level. Organic farming. Organic farming is not going to be from one city to another city. It's hyper-local. There can be platforms created by some startups. So there are different stakeholders who can really fulfill what needs to be done, these six or seven steps. So I would really expect that the Center of Excellence will really work on really bringing all this, becoming an aggregator of all the stakeholders who can fulfill this part of it. And last, very important, I mean today if you look at this particular room, there are very few women. But when you go to the world of micro entrepreneurs, the picture is totally opposite. It's majority women. So I'm sure the Center of Excellence is also going to give a priority for more women micro entrepreneurs in terms of developing that. So with that, I wish all the best to this new Center of Excellence. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Krishna. Now we'll get into a discussion, question answers. What we'll do is we'll take 3 questions together. Then I'll request or direct if you can sort of introduce yourself, short questions, and to who you're asking, or any of our panelists will get into it. So I think we broadly discussed multiple things: the reality, the challenges, the opportunities, and clearly the models that are needed. So now maybe if you have inputs or a question or a suggestion, I think now is the time that we'll get into that. We have another sort of 20-25 minutes to do this. Who's going to take the first question, please? Yes, thank you. The lady in the back, please. Can you introduce yourself and yes, thank you.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
I am Dr. Sangeeta Purushothaman. I head Best Practices Foundation, and we have developed a model called MOVE for micro entrepreneurs to develop them at the very, very local level, very much what you're talking about. And we would love to know how NGOs like us can connect with your centers of excellence and with the work that all of you are doing.
So certainly, and I think there are people from CIA who are happily, sort of acknowledging the fact that we will work, and maybe offline I'll request them to connect with you. But I think if you want me, I can give a generic sort of thought. Such a center of excellence is, the idea itself is to work with multiple stakeholders. While it will have an initiative, project and an activity on its own, but the idea is to extrapolate and capacity build, for which if there is experience with others on the ground, we will certainly, I think, work together and build on that. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, please.
Sujata here. Sir, there are 2 questions from my side, and you all can choose to answer accordingly.
Can you introduce yourself as where you're from?
I'm Sujata Suresh. I'm co-founder of Pravara. We are into training services, consulting and coaching. Sir, I am really proud of this kind of an initiative. It's really very meaningful. When you are speaking of the age group of 18 to 35, that's my first question to all of you. I'll just share both the questions and you can choose to answer. There is, in my experience, I see that even if I look at the population, there is a greater generation of people beyond 50 and 60 who are healthy because of the medical support and who can do a lot more. Is there something else that CII can look at these people also, so they can be contributors towards the emotional well-being or mental well-being of the communities? The second is, I really like this hub and spoke kind of idea that was presented during the conversation. Automation and manufacturing, this has become, this is on the rise, as I noticed. The EVs, if I look at electronic vehicles, I'm just taking one of their examples. And I'm just wanting to know that, can this be done as a hub and spoke kind of a model also? That big companies need not be given, but then this can come down to small entrepreneurs. Thank you so much. I leave both the questions and I look forward to the answers.
I'll ask the panelists to say which one they want to answer, but to the first one, I come from Coimbatore. Coimbatore is already becoming what people might say is a retirement ecosystem, and we certainly see the strength of it. they're not necessarily retirees. It is just a settlement of people who have finished one career or two careers who want to sort of help. And we've certainly used people like that very well, and they have sort of found purpose. So I think there's a big opportunity in what you're saying. But any thoughts on saying how that generational
This is something, well, it's not official, I mean, not from an official capacity, in personal capacity. This is something which I completely agree, and it resonates very well. And in fact, I see the seniors, which I call it a second innings. And I'm not sure about micro enterprises, but MSMEs, in filling gaps in terms of certain expertise which you cannot afford a younger person to work, because MSMEs with their economic